Hey there! Today I'm going to be demoing my text-based game Last Quest, written in Java, which should be available on GitHub with username Bryson C. So let's jump right into it and look at some of the directory structure that I've uploaded. Clearly you've got your source folder for your Java files. You've got your binary folder for the class files. And this is where it gets into some, we've got the profiles folder, which holds on to some saved data for players, and you've got a subdirectory of that that just manages simply the player's inventory. Okay, now we're actually into the game, and this is the first screen that you see where it's going to ask you to pick a profile or create a new one if there's not already one there. These are being read from the profiles directory that you just saw. So for this purpose, let's create a new profile. And we're just going to call ourselves demo profile. Right, now our profile has been created and we can begin the game. So this is just a little bit of background info that I want to give the player to get them into the feeling of RPG. I know it's a little cliche, but I can approve of it. And we have our title screen. The ASCII sword I actually got from a friend. It definitely makes the title screen look fairly imposing, which is what I really wanted to go for. And now we're on to the first area. Each area gives a small description of the environment, so you can get kind of a feel for where you are, even in a text-based game. Then we have a small list of items of interest in the area, which is always items that you can interact with. They won't always be the same command, but you can usually do something with them. This isn't always provided in text-based games, but I wanted to give users a kind of sense of what they can and can't do. I don't want them just trying to guess at what they can do. Many role-playing or text-based games do bank on that, just see what you can find that you can do, but I really wanted to make it more direct than that. And let's just start off with our typing the commands so we can get a list of everything that we can do. Now, I think you'll notice how I transition. I print a whole bunch of blank lines. So if this isn't played in a decent sized window, it won't look as good. But I thought that was something that the person playing could decide for themselves. Each command here is fairly self-explanatory. For example, there's the use command, which is used to interact with objects in the environment. Talk to, which will let you talk to a person. Inventory, or inv, which will bring up your inventory. Equip, which will let you equip items. Pos, which will show you the position or information about your current position. Stats, which will give you some information about your player. And save, which will let you save the game, although autosave is implemented just in case. And we can return to the previous screen, or basically reproduce it by asking it to give our position again with the pos command. Alright, so now let's begin to play the game. So with the door, you're going to want to refer to the use command. So you just had to give the name of the door as it appears. So, we're given a door and a new description of the area, and we're going to go down. We're in our father's home, as it says, and you can see that there's a new item been added to the items of interest list, which is Dad. Now, you don't want to use Dad because that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We're going to talk to Dad. And now we're at our first bit of dialogue, which you can see I've drawn out with ASCII with the NPC face. Now, the way these work is each NPC is given a defined face and also separate emotions that they can show, which you'll likely see as the dialogue progresses. So as you see, every time you get a new location that you can go to, it's shown right above. Alright, so we can read through this dialogue and continue. So we have progressed with our quest by talking to him. So now we can leave via the door, and we're brought to the map screen. Now, there are a couple areas which have been starred out, that we cannot go to currently. But as we continue with the progression of the game, these will become unlocked. So as the text prompts, we want to say where we want to go with the to command, Harlane's Tower. So now we are in a new environment at Herlane's tower. Now as you can see, I did recycle a couple of images, just because there wasn't really much to animating a door, and there'll be some other stuff too. I hope you can forgive me. Now, there's a couple things that we can interact with. We can use the door to go back outside, but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And just to show you that some things are objects of interest but can't be used at the moment, we're going to try and use the ladder, and it's going to tell you you can't use that at the moment. Again, use pause to bring back up the position screen. Now, and also, we'll go ahead and check trying to use Herlane instead of talking to him. And there's no such thing as a Herlane object to use, so we can't do that. Likewise, we can't talk to the ladder. No such person. Okay, now let's go ahead and start progressing with our quest. And now we've unlocked our new area where we can go to the city of Glen Cove because he instructs us to go there. And you can see that Herlane actually uses a different face with a beard because he is an elder. And elders have beards, as any RPG person will tell you. Just to show you that we have actually made progression with our quest in this area, if we talk to Herlane again, we'll see that he has a much more curt response that he does not want to talk to us. So, I think it's time that we best leave. Use the door. Alright, just to try out something, let's try and go back home. Now, there's no one home. Too bad. Area's changed. We're back on the map now. Alright, I think it's time that we go to the new city of Glen Cove. And as soon as we enter this area, we trigger a scene where Herlane is telling us what he wants us to do in this city. And now we get a new description of the area, and with a new item of interest, we can also try talking to Herlane again. I believe, yes, he just wants you to go to the blacksmith shop. And now that we're in this area, we're going to go ahead and head into the blacksmith shop. Alright, we're in here, another door to show us that we've transitioned through a door. And we have a new person we can talk to, the blacksmith, but let's try talking to Herlane first. Ah, he gives us some money. Good thing we tried talking to the guy. Thanks, Elder. Now he tells us that we need to talk with the blacksmith. Okay, this is a good time to show that not just any command can obviously be recognized. I typed talk instead of talk to. I'm the developer and I still mess that up. That's just fantastic. Talk to blacksmith. Here we are. Now we're in a conversation with him. He has the same face as our father. Kind of scary. He reuses the same face textures. Like I told you in the beginning, I apologize. But we're going to buy a sword from him. And he tells us that that will be the 100 coins that we just got, thankfully, from Herlane. Nice guy. And of course we want to make this purchase. And we have lost the 100 gold, but we have gained the sword. So, if we look again at our commands list, we see that we have an option to look at our inventory. Now, I've just used all the gold I had. Before that would have said 100, but I wouldn't have had this sweet, awesome bronze sword. Alright, we are back at our commands, and I think now it is time to equip the sword. So, if we want to equip something, we see we have the equip command, which will open a new interface, which looks a lot like the inventory interface with just one addition. We have a line now asking what is the number of the item that we want to equip. Now, if you see in the inventory screen, there's a number that designates what position that item is at. So, we want to equip a bronze sword, so we're going to give it position 1, and our bronze sword is now equipped. If we look in our inventory, it's no longer in our inventory, it is in the equipment slot. So, we're wielding a sword in a town. We're probably going to get in trouble, but I think we'll be okay for now. Herlane's got our back. Alright, now we're out of that shop. So it's time to use the trail and head back to the tower. We're using a trail this time, not a door. Well, if we look at our map, we can't go home anymore. That area has been taken off of our available locations. We can try and go back home. but that isn't a valid location anymore. So we're going to make sure we're still on the trail. We're going to head back to Herlane's tower. And here we are. That immediately gets us into another scene where we talk with Herlane, and he's back home. Now, he wants us to go down to the basement, and we can check by talking with him again. Oh, after we've wielded our sword, but we've already wielded our sword, so we preempted his desires. Now, we're in the basement, which is good, and I think it's time that we talk with Herlane one last time to figure out what we're doing. We're going to use the rat's nest. Alright, we are ready. Let us use the rat nest. Alright, now this will proc every time you use it in a tutorial area. It's going to see, do you want to read the guide before you start the battle? Which is usually a good idea. I'm going to print it here just to show you it's there, but I'm still going to talk about it. Now, combat works in a turn-by-turn manner, and there will be a time when both the player is attacking and defending. Now, the way I saw combat in a text-based game like this, I really wanted to get keyboard spam into effect. I wanted you to just start punching keys like mad. Like in a fight, you would be fairly active. So I wanted to try and capture that with how I implemented combat. So the way that combat is going to work is you pick a letter on your keyboard, obviously, and the opponent picks a random letter. Now, in order for you to attack, you need to your letter needs to be far enough away from the opponent's defending letter. So the range, as I said, will be shown in a minute, but it's determined based on your level. So this also says some stuff about items, but this is a tutorial, so you shouldn't need to use items as of now. So let's proceed. So we get this nice little battle interface, and this says that our speed allows us to attack first. Now, that won't always happen, obviously, but here's some statistics about the player and enemy. You got their level and their HP, and an HP bar, which will change depending on the percentage of HP left. And then we get a nice little instruction down here, which reminds us that we have to type any letter. And this is where the level difference I was talking about. This is calculated based on the difference. You can see how that works, but 4 is the maximum. We're not going to go any higher than 4. So let's get started with this. So we just have to start by typing a letter. So we attacked with the letter Y, and our opponent defended with its random letter O. And because we were outside the range of the opponent's defense, our attack went through. It was successful, and we dealt 1 point of damage to the enemy. The enemy's hit points have decreased, as has their HP bar. So how this should work is we'll just type another letter to defend. But because the enemy's attack was so far away from our letter, their attack went through that time, and we lost hit points. So we'll just continue again. This time, when I picked W, the enemy picked T, which is within 4 letters of W, and the enemy's defense was successful. We dealt no damage, and combat keeps going on. So we'll just try to get a little bit more into it. After we've spammed a lot, we can see that in a couple of areas, there is a random chance that we will deal critical hit damage. It's particularly small, so don't rely on that. Now, if I saw correctly, here we go. This time, when enemy was attacking with S, I also picked S. We defended perfectly, and we got to deal counterattack damage. We took no damage, and the player dealt 1 damage to the enemy. So after a little bit of struggle, we've got our smug little face of a victorious player. We can now continue. We have gained experience and gold from the battle, and we leveled up to level 2. Heck yeah. Okay, so we get some final words from Herlane, who wants us to go up the stairs. He's no longer in the area. We can reuse the rat's nest if we want to try combat a little bit more, but you can die. Which, because I realized that there's a huge amount of randomness to this combat style, you deal more damage and can protect yourself better when you're a higher level, but it's still fairly random, so it's not fair to just kill you if you die. I let you respawn. You just don't get anything from that fight. It's like it never happened. So let's go ahead and head back upstairs. So now we talk to Harlane for our last little bit of advice. And he tells us that we need to head back on our way home. So we're going to go do that. Our home environment is back open. We can go visit it now. Uh-oh. Except now we get a new place description. We see that there are flames, or what I tried to make look like flames. And we get the description that the house is under siege. And we see that our dad is lying badly beaten in the distance. We need to go and talk with him. Now we finally get a character with a little bit more of emotion after what's all happened. You can see that he's got a different face this time. And it's been a little cliche, but our home has been attacked, our home is ransacked, and everything is stolen, and we have to go and save Mom. So, avenge us. So now we get the final closing message of the tutorial. You must claim vengeance for your family, and in order to go and attack this guy, we need to be level 20, so we have to grind out and train for level 20 at the moment. We get new locations as you level. As your level gets higher, you can go to different places. If you go visit Glen Cove, you can buy new potions and equipment. Alright, and then we get our final closing message saying to keep strong and one day you'll have revenge. And with that, we have reached the end of our demo, the end of the tutorial. I'd just like to say that I had a lot of fun making this game, and it was a good experience to do for my high school senior project. Let me say that again, high school senior. I've gone back, and just a disclaimer, I've gone back and looked at the code, and as most of you probably do when you go back and look at your code, there's a lot of mistakes that could be improved now that I have better knowledge of programming. But regardless, I am very happy with how this turned out, and I'm very happy to share it with you all. Please go to my GitHub page if you would like to see the source code, or if you have any questions for me or anything, just leave them in the comments, or feel free to contact me any way you can. And yeah, just thanks again for watching.